Microphone. There we go. All right. Hello, hello. One sec. It's loading. It's loading. I don't know why it does this. Go. Come on. The delay is kind of crazy. It's like, there we go. All right, now we're live. Sorry about that. It takes a few minutes for some reason. Like when I hit go live, it'll start the stream and then it doesn't go for like a few minutes, maybe like a minute, and then suddenly I'm there. How are we today? United versus Liverpool at home at Old Trafford. A big one. This is exciting. This is very exciting. Nervous? Yes, Ed. Yes, I know. The nerves will set in once kickoff gets going. The bench is awful. You know what's funny is that selling Scott McTominay and obviously Mount. Selling Scott McTominay and obviously Mount being injured, suddenly the bench looks really bad. James, just so you know, when I say your name, I use the Latin version, aka James Rodriguez. You know, a lot of people do that. Like a lot of people that I've talked with do that for some reason. Probably because like anybody I talk to in kind of the football space tends to not be American, so they like to do the James, you know. So it's all good. Never understand two keepers on the bench rather than a young player like Amos. Well, Amos isn't ready. You know. Amos is not ready. So, what do we think? What do y'all think of the lineup? What do you think of everything? I think when we were talking about it yesterday, one of the things that obviously I know the big debate among the majority of people is the point of Ahmad being dropped for Garnacho. But I've been telling you this for weeks. Alejandro Garnacho is our starting right winger when he's fully fit. He wasn't fully fit. That's Bruno Fernandes. That's the answer to that, by the way. He was not fully fit, but he is now. And he is now. But Alejandro Garnacho is our starting right winger. Okay? He's our starting right winger. I cannot explain this enough. That's why I was saying we need a left winger. I mean, I've gone on and on about this point. Alejandro Garnacho is our starting right winger. Actually, I do want to talk about that Anthony Robinson thing, and I want to talk about Mastantuono, because those are both genuine. Links. Now, I'm sure that I spoke about this a while ago. I'm sure I spoke about this a while back. That Mastantuono, I'm sure I mentioned him on a video in like April or May, like 4 months ago, I think it was. I spoke about Mastantuono because United have been looking kind of the South American market. There was, Anselminho, who Chelsea ended up signing. There were some others, Talis, some other names we didn't go for. And I spoke about that ahead of summer, that United had been kind of keeping their eyes on this whole South American market. And Mastantuono was one of them. But of course, Madrid were heavily pursuing him. But they didn't sign him in the end. And so that is definitely an interesting report, that today from Felix Diaz, that they're probably not going to sign him. Now, he's quite young. I think he just turned 17, or maybe he's still 16. There was part of the issue was registration in Europe, I think, wasn't a guarantee, or at least with Brexit, it wasn't a guarantee. But by next year, or at the end of this year, because their year runs differently, right? He would be potentially an option at that point in time. So that's one I'd keep an eye on for sure for the future. If United decide to step into the South American market, then Mastantuono is somebody I would absolutely keep an eye on for the future, because they have been watching him. They have been interested. So it's not necessarily like new news. They have been watching. They have been interested. They didn't make a move this summer, but they definitely could in the future. The other name who plays in a similar position to him is Nipan, the young Norwegian we played against in preseason, right? Against the Norwegian team. Now their window also runs differently because their team runs January to December, and United are interested in both. And I would say they're similar profiles, if I'm not mistaken. Both are kind of attacking eights, though. Yeah, Rosenborg. Yeah. Though Mastantuono, I think, is maybe a little bit more of a wide midfielder to some degree, but both somewhat attacking midfielders. Could be good understudies for Bruno for the future, which we don't really have. We've got good deep line midfielders in the academy, like the Fletchers, and we've got others, but I don't think we have really any 10s, do we? Coming through the academy. Like, I know we've got floating players, who can kind of play all around. Do we have any 10s? Am I forgetting someone major who's like a real, like, 10 attacking midfielder, type in the academy? Shea Lacey, I know, but I think he'll make it in more off the right as well. That's what I was thinking of, but I always think of him as a right winger. But maybe he is more of a 10. Yeah, Lacey's more of a right. Yeah, that's how I feel, right? Ibrahimov, yeah, that's true. Yeah, we've got some, but having some more would be good, and we can see how we've done that with like Cheeto, Kone. We've another deep midfielder. So yeah, I mean, I think it would be an interesting idea to look at that. Ibrahimov is a good one too. Yes, but Mastantuono or Nipan, I would definitely keep an eye on those if we decide to make a young, like a signing, like of a young player who's maybe a little closer to the first team than they are. That's the other thing, of course. Senior football, I think that both Nipan is playing and Mastantuono, but realistically, in both cases, it would be a little while before they would come into the team. But yeah, keep an eye on the winter window because, we have money. That's one of the things. We have money, right? When we look at the PSR situation, not making a purchase, moving on Jadon Sancho, we have money I'm already talking about transfers, and it's been 2 days since the window ended. But we have money. We can spend. We can, and we can spend in January. And the winter window is kind of when you might be looking at players like that. But in terms of Anthony Robinson as well, I think he was on our big list of fullbacks from before. I'll have to go back and look. The one everybody makes fun of, right? I'll have to go back and look, but I feel like at one point he was on our big list of fullbacks in the past. And United had decided essentially not to go for a fullback, obviously, on the left of a straight left back this summer. We know that. But if they do in the end, then that would be an option. And I think even before the window was over, yeah, he was on our big list, right? Even before, I think we were talking about how in January I think we'll go for a left back, because when you look at our squad right now, let me pull it up actually. Give me 2 seconds here. When you look at our team at the moment, I mean, I understand, Luke Shaw will be coming back after the break, probably. But yeah, let's see. Bayindir, Heaton, Evans, Maguire, Ahmad, Collier, Eriksson, Anthony, Wheatley. We have no fullbacks, right? We have no fullbacks. We have no fullbacks on the bench, So when Shaw comes back, then we will have one fullback on the bench. But I do think that we could really use a fullback in the winter window, and I think it was something kind of being pushed into the next next summer, next January. So I would definitely keep an eye on Anthony Robinson as an option because he is one. He was on our list. He was on the big list that we put together. So we'll have to keep an eye on that because I do think that one is one worth mentioning. Yeah, I think that's one worth mentioning. And then, I talked about Mastantuono. Yes, I talked about Mastantuono. I think I mentioned him on video like 4 months ago. I think I mentioned on video about 4 months ago about Mastantuono alongside Anselminho and some Dallas and some others we were looking at in the South American market. So one to keep an eye on in that position as well, Nipan. We looked at. Yeah, you know what's funny? One sec. How do I do this? I'm not sure if I can. I'm just looking at our list. The last transfer table we did, I had 3 names left on my left back list, which were Ait-Nouri, Kirkes, and Anthony Robinson. Those are the 3 names that I have heard we were genuinely still interested in. As of now, anyways. Those were the 3 left backs. So Ait-Nouri, Kirkes, and Robinson. And I would still keep an eye on all 3 of those because I think those are 3 United are definitely interested in for the future. Yeah. So, yeah, definitely one to watch. Definitely one to watch. Mastantuono plays like he's like an attacking midfielder winger type. So essentially a Bruno Mount type of dealio. Yeah. If you sign a fullback, what happens to Amas? I don't know, but he's not even in the squad, you know? He's not ready yet. If he's not in the squad at the start of the season, the idea that he's going to be starting important games for us is not that likely. It's 8:33 here now. So it's not that early. For me, anyway. This is not that early. So yeah, let's keep an eye on those 2 deals. Mastantuono, Nipan, Anthony Robinson, left backs in January. Yeah, plenty of time to develop, of course, but he should go on a loan. Honestly, he should go on a loan. He should. I would loan him out in January or something. No pints. It's 8:30 in the morning. No, I don't drink much in regardless, but no. So yes, the interest is true again in Mastantuono and in Anthony Robinson. Whether we decide to go for them in the future, we will see. But they are true and they are something we could watch. Yeah. But getting another fullback in, because we also have to see by January how is Malacia actually able to come back. Yeah, we could still loan Amas to a championship club. Maybe that's why he's not in the squad. I'm not saying it is, but maybe. We will see how Shaw is by January. We'll see how Malacia is by January. And then we can decide on a left back. But yes, in the office on a Sunday for me, I know. But it's easier to hear. Hey, make sure to like the stream. Make sure to do all that while you're here. Really appreciate it. Means a lot. He's going to be with the English under 8 teams. Then we're going to talk about the squad. Let's talk about the squad. Make sure to like the stream, though. Really appreciate that. Let's talk about the squad. We've got a little bit of time, and then I'm going to have to get set up for the watch-along. Under 18s, under 21s, whatever it is. Yeah, he should be, right? Then I'm going to have to get set up for the watch-along, which I do hope that you will attend because it's a lot of fun. The last one was really awesome. And yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. This new platform is launching soon. So let's talk about the lineup because I understand the consternation. This is our front 3, right? And as we have kind of been talking about all summer, you will know if you've been listening to me, which you should, because my opinions are opinions, but they tend to be fairly educated opinions. That's why I have them. When I talk about why they wanted to sign Ugarte, it's an opinion based on the information been given from the club about his ball winning being the major trait they're looking for in a player, not ball playing, which is the difference between what people on Twitter want and what the club wanted, right? But the same thing with the front 3 when you look at the dynamics, okay? Zirkzee dropping in with 2 runners, inside forwards next to him, so that he can move the ball around and even Bruno can get beyond him. I mean, it'll probably look like this on some counters, on the run. This is objectively the way United want to play. This is quite objectively the purpose of the way that we went about our business this summer, and brought Zirkzee in. This is the exact dynamic that we were looking for. And I figured, as soon as Zirkzee was ready to go, that this was going to happen. And Alejandro Garnacho is our starting right winger, okay? Alejandro Garnacho is our starting right winger. Okay? He is. He's the starting right winger. We have to accept that. We have to understand that. We have to deal with that, as it were, right? He is our starting right winger, okay? Ugarte's at the game, so he'll probably get announced, right? Actually, I need to, that's a good point. I want to put that on in my background just so I can see if they announce him really quick, because I haven't turned my stream on yet, but I want to watch in case I get to see it. They don't always show like the pre-match stuff in the US and the stuff at Old Trafford, but hopefully, if they put it up on the screen if he's shown. Why is Rashford starting? Because he's our starting left winger. I mean, it's funny, like, if Casemiro wasn't having I know this isn't how it works, okay? But if Casemiro wasn't having a good game, you wouldn't say Bruno should start at the 6 and then Mount should start. Like, it's not really how it works. And I know that's not the same, but to some degree it is. They want to play players in their best positions. And, yeah. Ahmad did have a poor game last game before his goal. It wasn't like, and Rashford Rashford last season, in our worst season, scored against Liverpool, against City, against Arsenal in his worst season. He scores in big games. This is the dynamics that we're looking for. Garnacho is a really good player on the right. He's really dynamic. He's really aggressive. He's really, the way that he plays is going to suit the team, Yeah. I think Ahmad had a pretty bad game before the goal. And it's kind of funny because in the past, when Rashford had bad games and scored, people would say, well, he had a bad game. He only scored a goal or something, and they'd want him benched back then. You can't win, You can't win. But it is what it is. Rashford's a left winger. He's got to play a lot better. There's no doubt about that. There's 100% no doubt about that. Rashford has to play better. But as of now, he's our starting left winger, and 2 games isn't going to change that. We also have this whole dynamic that is supposed to play into getting the most out of all of our players. This dynamic is the ideal to get the most out of all 4 of these players. Having Zirkzee be able to drop in and Garnacho and Rashford run behind. So do you remember in the second half? Rashford's last goal was Liverpool in the cup. He also had the pass in the FA Cup to Garnacho that set up the second goal as well. But do you remember the what was it? The City game, the Community Shield, in the second half. Rashford and Garnacho were in constantly. Like they kept getting in behind constantly. And Garnacho scored, Rashford should have scored. He should have scored 100%. But that dynamic of how we got in behind City is essentially a lot of what we want to replicate here with this team. So, in possession, certainly Zirkzee's going to be dropping in, having Rashford, Bruno, and Garnacho get kind of ahead of him. And hopefully that, lets us push up a little bit. The back 4 is pretty much Ten Hag's ideal back 4 at this point in time. We got, De Ligt in. I mean, this is a strong, physical, fast back 4. And I'm less worried about our attack today and more worried about Casemiro. And I've worn his jersey today. I want to support and hope Casemiro has a very good game. I hope he does. Because I think we're going to need that. That out of possession work I think is what we need more than anything else in the midfield, right? That's what we need more than anything else in the midfield, the out of possession work, because the midfield for Liverpool is extremely energetic, very, very energetic. McAllister, these are players who get around a lot, and we're gonna need a lot of movement. How much possession do you expect us to have? Not much. I mean, I wouldn't say nothing. We shouldn't be aiming for at home against Liverpool not having possession. I think we'll be a bit lower than 50%, but I think we'll be decent. Jim Ratcliffe is there today for a big game. You love to see that. It's at Old Trafford, so we know that they're going to go for it. We're not going to sit in. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. This Kenyan individual, the runner. It's Eliud Kipchoge. Eliud. Anyway, yeah, it's nice to see that. I saw there were some pictures of him earlier, meeting with some of the guys in training, and all of that. Ugarte is there. There's a picture of Ugarte as well. Obviously, he should be there. Yeah. He doesn't look very small to me when I see him pictured. But I don't know if they're gonna do an announcement or not. He's not like dressed for it. He's in a jacket. Is it cold or is it just rainy? Casemiro should be fine if we don't have spaces. Is it cold or is it just rainy? Because everybody's all jacketed and Kipchonji. Is that correct? Kipchonji. Thundering in Manchester today. Well, so it's a normal day, okay, but not too cold. Fair enough. Yeah, the other factor that I think is important: Rashford versus Trent Alexander. If we can get Rashford in behind Trent, who will get forward and is defensively poor in possession, then not poor in possession, poor out of possession, then yeah. Then I think that's a huge factor in this too, in terms of the dynamics of attacking Liverpool. So I think we'll be able to play our game. I think we will. But yeah, that's mostly what I wanted to just cover in the pre-match today. This is what I expect we'll start with after the break as well. But with Ugarte in there, and then Schaub may be back soon. So that would be pretty much the the ideal lineup for Ten Hag. And we'll see how it performs today. If it gets a win, then obviously you ride that and you keep riding that. 2 years ago, the same scenario. We bought a 6. It wasn't quite ready to start. We played Liverpool in our third game after a loss against Brighton. And we got a win, a dynamic win, a really good one against Liverpool. And it turned the season around. So maybe we can have that again before things get out of hand. What do you think? I think we can. Please join me here. The link is below. Please come hang out. It was a lot of fun. And the platform's only going to get better and better. It should be fully launched after the break. And then all sorts of cool stuff. Please come sign up and hang out. It's just a lot of fun. It was easily, I've never done watch alongs before this season, but on the platform and doing it in this way, it was a lot of fun, and I think it's good, like a stress relief for all of us to have somewhere to hang out. I will be starting over there in about 10 minutes ahead of the game, and yeah. Otherwise, yeah, it is a holiday, so I get a day off tomorrow, so I won't be doing a Monday video. I will do the podcast with Phil likely on Tuesday this week. I'll try to do some sort of post-match thing though, and all of that as well. But yeah, that's what I've got for today. I wanted to talk about the lineup. I wanted to talk about Masten Tuonu and Anthony Robinson, as well as Nipan. And yes, a look to the future, a left back, another midfielder, maybe 2 more midfielders next year, an attacking mid, and a more box-to-box type of 8. And then left back, potentially another left winger. And I think getting more young players, we talked about that they're still in that vein of play. Getting young players in, I think is still the focus. Players who can develop and work towards the future, especially when we have starters in their positions already. So thank you all for hanging out with me today. Enjoy the match. You know, up the fucking Reds. Hope United win. And let's have a good one. If you're coming to the watch along, I will see you soon. And enjoy your day. Let's hope for a win. Let's hope for happy days. See you all later.